Now we get nervous.
I think that like message of other like your second or your mother tongue is a big identity point in the other book of yours, Clap When You Land.
Yes.
That book, I know we're not talking about it, but that book resonated with me.
Aren't we?
A lot.
No, please. I haven't read anything
Same
from
with her.
her.
We're allowed. We're allowed.
This book. But I will read everything.
Seriously, same.
Yeah, it was the first
Have you read this poet Irsa J. Ward? Maybe I am just destroying her name, but
No, I don't think so.
she is this amazing Afro-American poet, and one of her poems is also about her mother, and I find really interesting, even in my own poetry, that women that write poetry now tends to write a lot about their relationship with her mothers. I don't know. Do you have any thought about? I don't know if someone here also read a lot of poetry. Deya, I am seeing something in your face, like
Yeah.
you're thinking of something.
There's a lot of mother issues in poetry. Especially there is this thing especially within Latin communities that there is something about the relationship with our own mothers, and that it is complicated. It is a lot of love and a lot of passion and a lot of heart, but there is also, I'm so sorry, Mom, I love you. There is also a lot of
definitely that.
And exasperation at times.
I was thinking.
You can see in a lot of
I was talking about this with a friend today, like by any chance, because I don't know, that relationship with fathers of generations are more complicated, because I hope it's not your case, but distant parents and all that. And it's about like our mother has to be on top of everything all the time, and that was my case. And I have a more rich relationship with my mother, and what my poetry book closed with a poem to my mother. Even the whole book is dedicated to her, and it's because she was always there. She was always with me, and I don't know, I see myself through her, and I think I know I am getting old, because and I would like to know your point about this. In the book, you didn't realize, like, sometimes I could see the perspective of the mother, like my daughter is going away from me. She's becoming something foreign. She's becoming this country that is not my country. She's speaking this language that is not my language, and I am, losing grasp of her. And I was like, this is so. I don't know. I am not a mother, but I can relate so much with this feeling, because I can imagine, living that as an immigrant.
Yes.
Yeah, I do want to ask about that. I'm going to welcome everybody, and we're going to introduce ourselves, and then I have a bunch of questions, and then any questions you guys want to ask each other, please feel free to do so.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to share this link to all my
definitely.
friends.
Perfect. Hi, Cheyenne.
Hello.
Hi, Julie.
Hi.
I would. It's okay to wave. Hi. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to be doing the Poet X live show for Feminist AF Book Club. Hello. So, yay. This book was amazing. I'm so excited to talk about it. If you read it on audiobook, you had a whole experience. I know. So leave in the comments. Everybody give what they rated it. 5 stars from me. If you guys want to, oh wait, sorry, I have to talk about Sagra. Oh, that's right. So Okay, so I talked a little bit about this in my video from today, but we, the book club, got a collab opportunity from a small women-run business, and they have created for next month for our book of the month, which is The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. I wanted to say the wrong book name for a second there. They created two special book sleeves and 2 special bookmarks just for that book. They gave a coupon code for everybody who's included in the book club. It's Feminist 20, all one word, no spaces. And all of their information, their shop and stuff is linked down below, along with all of our links to our co-hosts for this month for their channels. So if you guys want to go around and not invite, oh, Rachel, words are a thing. Introduce yourselves and plug your channels or whatever you want to share with everybody.
How do we start?
You can go first. You're right there.
Yeah,
so
I'm on.
Go in
Yeah,
a circle.
okay. Got picked first. So hey everyone, my name is Louisa. You can call me Lou. I am at the channel Lou Reading Things. I'm terrible at introductions. I am currently 24 years old, Brazilian, and I was born here, raised here, lived here my entire life, and I absolutely loved Poet X. I cried doing the dishes. I cried, swiping my bedroom. I cried folding clothes, and I just kept crying. My mom was very concerned, but the audiobook experience was A plus. I actually knew Elizabeth Acevedo before I knew of her books because I'm very into slam poetry, and she performs slam poetry a lot. So I was like, wait a second, I remembered this voice, and then it was just like a whole thing. So yeah, amazing book, 5 out of 5 stars for me, and I'm so glad to be able to discuss it today.
Great. It's me next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I next? Or
Go ahead.
who's next? Great. Hi, my name is Saya. I'm a Taurus, Leo rising. I'm a teacher and also I'm Chilean. I've lived 23 years here. And I don't know. I don't have anything to plug. I do reviews. I do have things to plug. Follow me on Twitter. I have all of that there. Yay. Great. Next.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole, and my channel is A Cup of Nicole, which is right here. And I am 25, which is really weird. I turned 25 January 1st, so I'm a Capricorn. And,
Nice.
yeah, it feels very strange. This is my second time reading The Poet X. I listened to it like 2 years ago, I think, on audiobook. And then I recently listened to it again, but also followed along with the ebook because I had never seen the text itself, and I was just kind of curious this time. And although the audiobook is amazing because Elizabeth Acevedo just narrates so well, the physical book is also really cool because some of the poems are like structured in a certain way, and it might be important to actually see how she wrote them herself. But yeah, I'm excited to give it 5 stars again. And thank you for inviting me here.
It's me, my turn.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Paula. I have a booktube channel, Paula Poet. I'm not the most consistent with content. I tend to read a bunch of books or a bunch for myself, not 2 books standard. Every time I feel something, I edit it and then I just chicken out and never post it. So I'm Aries and I'm 27 years old. I'm also from Venezuela and I am an immigrant. I'm currently living in Panama Republic or Panama City, not Panama City Beach, Florida. Not that one. The country, not the city.
Okay, cool, Florida, but no.
No. Rachel, I think you are.
Sorry, I said there's nothing cool about Florida.
I live in Miami.
Oh, I live in Tampa.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Cool. I was gonna say, like, those big cities, the ones that didn't vote for Trump, we separate ourselves from the rest of Florida. Sometimes.
Oh,
You can
Don't get me
find weird
started.
stuff in Miami too, but
Don't get me started.
no. Well, I am ashamed because a bunch of Venezuelan, they are just traumatized about or dictatorship, and they are like, if you take no equal rights, they are like, no, no,
don't worry
no,
about
no.
it. I'm
So,
Cuban, and we might be a
uh,
little worse. So don't worry, I get
no,
it. Terrible.
Cubans, Venezuela, like
It's okay.
we are like this, like voting for the right,
I know. We won't talk about it.
no.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Oh,
Hello.
5 stars, which is what it deserves. Yes.
Oh yeah, I also give it 5 stars. I think I didn't say
Oh my
I
god.
didn't say about the book. I also give it 5 stars.
Okay. Oh my god. I give it 4 stars.
That's okay. That's okay. That's not bad.
I don't know. Is that there is something that a 5 star book have to destroy me? Like I think my last 5 star was my Dar Vanessa, and I was destroyed. I
I
was
get
indeed
destroyed
destroyed.
really easily.
Same.
Same. Yeah. I was in the car and I was listening to the part where her mom this is all spoilery, by the way. So
Oh,
yeah, we're gonna jump right in.
You're not safe here.
You're not safe. So I was listening to the part where her mom throws her poets in the fire, and I'm
Oh.
clutching my chest, and my son is like, "Are you okay? Like, what's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I'm in pain."
Yeah, no, there were so many parts. So many. Anytime she talks about like the way that men treat her in public, I just like
oh,
hurts me. And then when
Yeah.
Amon
Rage.
didn't defend her that one
Rage.
time, I had
Yeah.
to take a break because
I think
Yeah.
it was like the first 15 minutes of the book that she talks like how her name means warrior, but her family doesn't want her to fight. And then I just paused the audiobook and I was like, I need a second. I'm not okay.
I had
The
chills.
you know,
The part-
actually, my grandma calls Xiomara, but with S, not with and no with X. And I was googling everything about the name, like, oh, I want to show this to my grandma, like, look at this.
the part that hit, actually, I'll just go ahead and ask, so what parts were personally relatable to you, or what parts really stuck out to you? What were your favorites, or just things that hit you in the feelings and left you clutching your chest?
I highlighted some parts. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh,
So we're gonna do like clockwise again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Okay.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I'm gonna try to be very concise, which is difficult for me, but
Same.
there were a couple of things for me that were very just personally very intense to deal with. And the first thing is like her being raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school, so it's like very Catholic. I'm not Catholic nowadays, but I did have this, and it's very interesting to see, in my family not being a very well-off family, there's a lot about the faith that is just about survival. So there's a lot about clinging to this faith that is about surviving this incredibly difficult situation, such as what happens with her family being immigrants and whatnot. So but at the same time, this might make sense to your parents and they might survive in this context, but it doesn't make sense to you, and you need other ways to survive differently. So that just like the way that she goes into the church and she's like, all these saints and none of them look like me. And this was one of my first thoughts when I was still in Catholic school, like all these saints everywhere, like everywhere, in the bathroom, everywhere, saints. And all of them, none of them look like me. So how come this faith can represent me? So that was one thing. And the second is the thing that we were talking about a little bit earlier, which was her relationship with her mother. And definitely this thing of Latinx mothers and Latin American mothers being like, there is this incredibly difficult connection that you have, that at the same time, like, you love this woman, you would die for this woman, but at the same time you don't want to see her, like, for the majority of the time. And with Xiomara's age at the time was very the point where I was also in the situation where, like, I love my mom, but like her voice sounds like nails on a chalkboard for me. And just feeling that makes you feel guilty because,
Yeah.
she's my mom and stuff. So that was very difficult. It was very beautiful to see, because right at the end, and again, spoilers, when she goes at the end and she realizes that she needs help talking to her mom. So she goes to a person that she knows that her mom's going to respect, which is the priest. And she's like, Mom, we need to talk and we need help. And I feel like it would be so good if we as teenagers and teenage girls were to learn that sometimes we need help dealing with our parents, and our parents need help dealing with us. And sometimes we just need someone to facilitate this conversation. And just a final thought, the part that absolutely broke me was when she was talking about her dad, and she was like, how you never talk about an absent father when your father lives with you. And that was just like so mind-blowing to me, because like being an active parent and being a present parent is not just about living in the same household, it's also about participating in the raising of the children and etc. And he only really rises to the occasion after the incredible fallout of their fight, when he's like invited to this conversation also, because of all of the gender stereotyping and family raising that she's also subjected to. So there's a lot about this family dynamic for me that was just so incredibly personal. I ran off. I talked too much. I am sorry. I
Oh,
know
preach,
but it's
preach.
We're all doing it. Yeah, no. There are
Dia,
the
you can.
things that feel really personal. The relationship with her dad, and how you may have memories with this person and you live with them, and it is okay, they're there, but then how are they there? They're just living with you. It feels sometimes like a roommate instead of a parent, somebody that should support you. I'm not gonna keep talking about this. Okay, we're going to way too personal side. Let's keep. Uh, oh yeah, I wanted to something that I noticed, and it was kind of also in the last book in Moxie. Um, I have a post-it. Is this a man in one scene in the school? She was like grabbed by one of the students, and she kind of like pushed him. And in that moment, she said that a man, he had seen it. He was a witness, and she was waiting for him to do something to stand up for her, and he didn't. And she had to deal with it, even though that's supposed to be the person that worries about you, that cares about you. And it talks about priorities in teenage boys, and
Yeah.
how disconnected sometimes they are from reality, that they just sometimes they don't think that they can do something because they have been imposed these teachings that they, if they see something like that, they cannot respond in a way. I don't know, it just enraged me a lot, because those were supposed to be the relationships, and we see how the relationship of Xiomara and a man evolves, and we see it from the beginning, how it builds and how actually full of its genuineness it is. But there is always this moment when your surroundings are more influential to you than your own values, and that it is so painful to see uh, in here and in real life. And it is something that we need to talk more about, that you need to do something. And that I was furious. I'm still furious about that.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
That part made me like, sorry. That part made me really uncomfortable too. But at the same time, it also maybe opened. Maybe Fiamata already knew this, but she was probably like, "Damn, I really have to just protect myself. Like, I can't really depend on other people to, like, I can't have these expectations that other people are just gonna defend me because I thought they cared about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes that happens too. But okay, I guess the part that really affected me or felt personal was um, she, you know how when she had assignments, she would do the rough draft first, and it was just like this beautiful poem, and then her final draft was something completely different because she was like scared of being so vulnerable. There was one rough draft where she was talking. The assignment was to describe someone you consider misunderstood by society. And in her rough draft, she talked about how her mom was her hero when she was little. The very beginning of that, it says, "When I was little, mommy was my hero because she barely spoke English and wasn't born here. And she didn't let that stop her from defending herself if she got cut in line at the grocery store or from fighting to get twin into a genius school because I've never seen her ask my father for money and all this stuff." So she was just talking about how her mom like literally came to this country and had to defend herself, and I just felt that because I've always thought the same thing about my parents and my mom. Like when I read that, I just had to put it down and like think about it a little because I was getting kind of emotional because I think about this all the time. Like our parents or my parents like really had to fight for so much. Something that's so simple like getting your child like summer reading books. Like that is so difficult for people who don't speak English and who aren't used to just going to like a Barnes and Noble and asking for a book, or like when your teacher asks you for like 3 composition notebooks and like college ruled versus wide ruled and all these like little things. I don't know. Like it just made me. I guess my relationship with my mom is a little different to Xiomara's. Like it's not as misunderstood as Xiomara's relationship with her mom, but sometimes it can be. And yeah, well, that's the theme of like her and her mom just hit me very very hard. I loved it, and I love what she wrote there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I feel the same. Um,
well, I want to touch on so many things that you say and also talk about my favorite part, the part that I feel more connected. The first time she went to the uh, recital. I don't know what is the name in the book, but I will say recital. And it was the first time she performed, and she felt the audience energy, and she was like talking like you feel like drugs, and that's just maybe because I told you like I used to perform poetry, and that brought so many memories. I remember one time. I was just moved to this country, and something that no one's ever told you, like everyone told you about, you will miss your family and your friends and blah blah blah. It's like you will get so bored because you don't know where to go, what to do. And one time I was just so depressed, and I see this open mic, and I just went to with my boyfriend. I go up there, and I perform, and I that was like a boost of happiness, of energy, like. And when she described that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can really realize that Elizabeth Acevedo have performed before, because not only in the way she described, but in the way she uh narrates the books. Because if you have gone to performance, you realize that players tend to sometimes speak more fast or more soft, or there is a way of reading the words that is different that you yourself reading the poem. And touching in all your points, uh, Lou have saying that the thing about the accent part that is not accent, and I think that's really normal in our Latin culture. Like uh, that happened to me. Like my father. And everyone's like, "But why are you so angry with your dad? Why you don't speak with him? He's such a good parent. He provide and pay for your school. You should be, thankful." And I was like, the guy is an alcoholic and never speak to me. Like, what are you talking about? He paid for stuff, bare minimum. And I just make a note here. I know I have something about what Daya say, but I just forget. But I make a note about how Nicole say in the draft. I don't know if you remember this draft, and she was talking about one of the most impactful day in her life, and she stuck talking about the first day. Uh, she have her period, and everyone is like, yes, we remember. And the way like she just went and buy tampons, that is not common for, or well, in my country that wasn't common. You need never wear tampons.
Well, yeah, you don't. I think it might be like a Latin thing too. Like tampons meant like
No, like
Yes.
Prohibited.
like
My mom literally would hide the tampons. Like they were not going to be available at the house. I swear to God.
Me too. Never.
Never. And
I'm
the
25
first time-
and I've worn tampons like twice.
Yeah, exactly. And like I wore a menstrual cup before I wore a tampon.
Me
And
too.
oh my god, you touch in the menstrual cup. Like I was talking to my mom that I am thinking of buying the menstrual cup, and next thing my grandma called me like, mira niña, oh, that is dirty. You can't do that. Like you're going to get sick. That is disgusting. What are you going to do? And I am like, grandma, like, it's okay. Like all my friends are doing it. Like
there is a huge taboo towards
the
this
menstrual cup.
type of the menstrual cycle as a whole.
Yeah.
And in Latin America specifically, and I do remember specifically having this conversation with my mom because we have a very open relationship like to one another. And I bought the cup and she was like, and I was like, I'm gonna use this, and she was like, but this won't make you a virgin anymore. And I was like, well, that boat has sailed, so might as well. So she was like, oh yeah, I don't think I should. Yeah, okay. But it was like, it's this level of like, you should not even have a bare idea of what that is. And that is something that is like incredibly shameful. And like, if you're on your period, my grandma would say that you're not allowed to wash your hair. You're not allowed to eat certain foods.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to wear certain clothes.
Oh, you're not allowed to cut your hair.
You're not
because
allowed to cut your hair.
Because your hair will not I don't know, your hair is not
Grow.
going to grow. That is the thing.
You can eat
There's
lemons.
a lot of it
No
that
lemons.
is in the book.
Rachel is like, what?
I've been doing
welcome to the
Pikachu
last
face for like
experience.
3 minutes.
I see you in the corner just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
but that is so common. Like I didn't have the problem with the tampons. Like I didn't use it because weren't that common. But I mean, my mom is super open about sex and everything. The only thing like is weird is like in our culture. I don't know in your homes, but you tend to get explained before get explained what is sex. In my culture, is like, okay, this is rape. Okay, and then this is sex.
Yes,
Like,
me too.
um,
I think that's also like kind of what it happened in the Poet X. That's why,
yeah,
not only were her parents and her mom specifically so religious, right? So Catholic, so anti like dating, anti-sex, but like in Latin American culture, probably I think it's always first presented like, if this happens to you, this is
bad.
This is bad, and you need to tell me immediately. Not like, this is how to protect yourself. This is safe sex. No, it's always been shown as like this evil thing that you should be terrified of. I remember like being traumatized.
Yeah, but I do think that there is a lot to do, and I think touching on another point on the book, like the over-sexualization of Latinx women.
Yes.
And,
And little girls.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's very difficult because like I'm Brazilian and living in Brazil, it doesn't really make any sense for over-sexualization of Brazilian women. But whenever I go abroad, it's just like, it's like the entire world feels like they have an entitlement towards my body that
La
it's this
garota.
because of my nationality, because of how
Yeah.
Exactly.
I look.
Yes, that's
So
very.
I sometimes like I when I the last time I went to Europe, I think it was like 4 years ago, I lied that I was an American, because if I said that I was Brazilian, I would never hear the end of it. And I feel like this is very common to very Latin American cultures. And I feel like this is why, and I maybe this is more prevalent. We also had this conversation in my house, but I think it's like more prevalent in immigrant households. And maybe you can discuss a little bit more about this, because being in a very racist country might turn your parents towards the fact that you're, unfortunately, this is how your daughters are going to be seen, and there's something that needs to be done about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. You brought up a really good point. Yeah, I
Oh,
think it's
but
like
something that I just want to talk about this scene really quick. It's like, you remember at the end, like her mother slapped her because
Mhm.
she, I don't know, that brought so many memories. Like, my mom is super okay, but when I have my first boyfriend, she was all freaked out. And one time she got angry and slapped me as well. And I was like, what the fuck? And it's all this fear of, because my mom was a teenage mom. And she was pregnant with me when she was 18. It was this fear, like, you can repeat the same mistake as me. You
Yeah,
can
it's
go,
always
like, you have
that's
to be
always like the
better.
root. That's always like the root of a lot of their
yeah.
problems.
Like
Like,
it,
oh,
and
you're not gonna go to school? What? You're gonna be like me, where I don't have a degree and I have to work this shitty job, or you're gonna have a boyfriend at this age and you're gonna be a teen mom like me. All of these
Yeah.
things, it's always rooted in something
there's
that.
a lot that is just like, I want something better for you, so I know what's best for you. And I
Yes,
think
Yeah.
this comes across in the book as well.
No,
yes, it
and
does.
there is this feel of property with our parents and
Yeah,
us as a child.
control.
Like, we are an extensions of them, of
Mhm.
what they represent, what we represent as a family.
Yes.
Like, we we are younger or in difference. Like, I didn't have a problem of, my poems being born, but I was really into My Chemical Romance. Um,
Great music taste.
I was an anime stan. My parents
I
were
am
like,
also an anime stan. So my mom come like Twilight, anime, Naruto, and My Chemical Romance. And my mom entered, just imagine, with a love eyeliner. My mom entered in my room, and one time she gets really angry, and I have this poster in my wall. Yeah, tuck the car, and she was like, "I'm going to destroy everything.
yeah,
Like, what is this? Dad, no, what is this? No, this is from the devil." And my mom is not religious at all, but I like, I don't know, sometimes things possess, like, and all this idea come in the front of her mind is like, no, you can use black, you can like these things, like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so crazy.
Religious fear. That's so religious
Even
fear. We're all going to hell.
even when they are not really Christians, it's like in the back of their mind.
yeah. It's a cultural thing. It's like the religion is so deeply, especially Catholicism, is so deeply ingrained in the actual culture that sometimes you're not religious at all, and you still find yourself doing things that are incredibly religious or having religious thoughts, even though it's not quite what you do. Like, so it's definitely interesting to see, the difference. I'm not sure, haven't lived abroad, but how, like, living here, like, the pervasiveness of Catholicism, and I feel like this would be the same in the Dominican Republic, like how this really shapes us as people.
Where I just live in Venezuela and now in Panama, is like, even here I feel it's bigger because I think not like last year, in 2019, I think so, was the JMJ. I actually don't know what that stand for, but the Pope was here, and everyone
Oh,
was
oh, when the Pope comes to visit. Oh my God.
like,
Oh my God.
everyone was
There is a
not
square.
Plans for weeks
A
to prepare.
no, there is a place in my city called the Pope Square because one day, I swear, one day in 1990 whatever, no, 1970 whatever, the Pope came here one day and blessed that plot of land. So they built a whole ass square around it just because the Pope showed up one day. And there are huge crosses and whatnot. It's something. It's something.
That's Catholicism, baby.
My
That's
husband,
Catholicism is insane.
my husband's abuela, when the last pope died, she cried for days. She cried for days. The whole family was worried about her. But
Because
it's not like she
really
ever met
bad.
him.
Like
it
there
was
is
her
this
friend.
Never met
here in
him.
Brazil we have this basilica. It's called Aparecida, and that is like one of the largest, if not the largest, basilica in the world, just behind the one in Rome. And my grandma made like a promise that she would pay $5 to the saint for whatever reason. And every time we went around the vicinity of that basilica, my grandma would be like, "Go there and remember to pay my debt. Go there and remember to pay my debt." And we're like, at this point, I'm pretty sure that the saint forgot that you ever owed her. So like, it's really deep. It's really well centered. Like the majority of my friends from school, when the Pope came here, I think it was 2017 or something. They all went to Rio de Janeiro to see the Pope. Like people my age, and that is super common. So it really informs a lot of cultural practices. And I actually have a little bit of this on the book because there is also the religious aspect and the religious component of it, that it's like you cling to this because you need some reason to survive and you need to survive. But at the same time, there's also this cultural aspect. So in which ways the insistence upon Xiomara going to church wasn't also an insistence on Xiomara not forgetting her culture and where she's from and her roots also, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mhm.
I wonder, have any of you experienced well, it's hard for me to I didn't grow up in Catholicism. I grew up in Christianity, so I can only like speak to how that is. We were taught like different things about Catholicism and how like Christianity is the only right way, and so is there like a culture of shame that you feel permeates beyond just church? Do you feel like anything inside of church? I mean, you were speaking on this already, really, because you were saying how the whole entire, even if you're not religious, it permeates your culture. So I guess the answer is yes. I just went in a big circle, didn't I? Great. Okay.
My parents are not religious at all, but they still have like these, I guess, like just customs that other Catholics would do, even though they aren't religious. So it's just something that like has stuck with them
Yeah.
because of their culture, but not because they actually go to church or anything like that.
Bella. No, and not that Bella has joined the chat. I think she can attest to the fact, like the entirety of Brazilian life is structured around Catholicism and Catholic rite. So when we're talking about Brazil, everyone thinks carnival, right? Carnival is the thing.
Yeah, like
And
partying or whatever. All this
Or the
stuff.
beach.
but Carnival precedes Lent, and Lent is a period of 40 days where you're supposed to abdicate from something that brings you immense pleasure just to accommodate to Christ's suffering. And Lent ends with the Passion Friday, and then you're not supposed to eat meat during that time. And
Yeah,
to
just
this
beach.
day, my mom will not eat red meat for 40 days after Carnival. There are like I remember my university, they would increase the vegetarian options during Lent because so many people would cut on meat during that time. Lots of people, and so there's a lot of our own civil legal practice that is just centered around this sort of Catholic belief and practice, you know. So it's very interesting.
No, now you are talking about that. I am thinking of, I'm not religious at all. I am agnostic, and my boyfriend is atheist. I think that is a way in English. And sometimes I do stuff because I am just used to it and make me feel close to my mom. Like in Holy Week, that is in April. You can eat also red meat. You can only
Yeah.
eat fish, and I tend to just cook fish because it's the tradition. And even I don't know why. And even in Christmas, we have this el nacimiento.
Mhm.
It's a small figure. It's like
What
I
are
just
those? What is it called in English when you
I
have
don't
like when
know.
you have there's a
Yeah,
specific word where you have like maybe Rachel. Wait, no, this is a Catholic. I don't know anything about
as
religion.
Oh, okay,
the
it's
Yeah.
beginning
something
of
like
the
I
You just
just
like
need to
have
sit
the baby
down.
Jesus thing. Oh my god.
Uh,
Oh, like a mini nativity.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
they they have like big ones that they put outside people's
I've seen
houses
those.
here.
Yeah.
No,
No,
we
yeah,
have all the sizes of
yeah, yeah,
nativity.
yeah.
My grandma puts one in her wardrobe. It's like
Yeah.
nativities for all.
My
Wow.
mom collected, and she have like all black nativity, all indigenous nativity, all in all the races, on all the colors,
Yeah.
forms. Like she have in glass, she has in wood. She sent me two because I was sad that I didn't have one for my first Christmas here,
Give you
and
options.
and,
Nice.
But
and,
there is,
and
I
like
think there it truly is this aspect of like Xiomara in the book struggling with the religion, but at the same time, I think she's struggling with this culture that she never really quite experienced
yeah,
Yeah.
properly because
Exactly.
and it's something that I've been maybe controversial, but it's that being Latinx in the context of the United States is different from growing up in Latin America.
yeah,
So
Sure. For
there
sure.
is a very marked difference in this, and I think this the majority of the conflict between the two of them come from the fact that her mother grew up a way, she's growing up another way in another
She's your
country,
best
in
friend.
another culture.
yeah,
Exactly. So her mom at the same time is going like, you need to go to church, you need to go to church, and there's a whole aspect of guilt involved. And even if you're not religious, there's this like Catholicism is very, very guilt based,
Yeah.
yeah,
and it's very guilt based on ritual. So if you don't do things a certain way, then you feel guilty about them. And and it's like this profound guilt of it's like God himself is watching down on you, and
Yeah.
you're like seeing that I'm being terrible. So it's like it's very, but based on rituals, you forgot to
yeah,
do this, and you forgot to do this. And I feel like Xiomara doesn't really quite understand this in a context of a country. I'm not exactly sure, but it's not the same thing as like the entire culture looks at you and being like, God is judging you right now because you forgot to do this. So there's this aspect of her mother trying to give her a culture that she doesn't live in and that is not her culture.
Yeah.
It is, but it isn't.
but
Could I feel like
no,
this is her
yeah,
best friend because Caridad seems like she's more into it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah,
because
yeah.
they put her into the school. They force her to do this, but it's also like just like the way that Caridad is. She kind of just doesn't question it. She's just like into it. So the fact that Xiomara has an option to live a different life because she's in this country, because she lives in Harlem and not the Dominican Republic, she
Yeah.
has that option to like be different to her parents. She just decided to do so, and like obviously, when you're 15, you don't think that it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and even
Yeah,
I
it's
I
about
really
identity.
appreciated the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dea.
No, sorry. Go.
No, you go. You go. You go.
I was gonna say that it's all about identity and how you are a product of your surroundings. And she, growing up in another country where she wasn't guilt into religion, it is
Yeah.
being. Okay, now.
Yeah, I think that I really love the part where she's in her confirmation classes and she's learning about Eve, and she was like, but why is Eve so bad? Like,
Yeah.
and I loved that part where she was starting to ask questions, and I loved it even more because the father, what was his name? Father Sean?
Sean.
Sean.
oh,
I love that he made that a place where she could ask questions.
Yeah.
I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah,
But yeah, like, why would she want to identify with this religion, right? If all women are depicted as evil and
Bad.
she's
Yeah.
already being shamed for being herself,
exactly.
being an Afro Latina, having the body that she has, having the hair that she has. There's already so much shame. So it makes sense that rather than finding hope and comfort in religion like her mother might, she
Exactly.
finds it just another place where she feels shame. And
Mhm.
I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's this specific point about confirmation class, and when she goes to take the communion, she hides the communion piece in her
Yeah.
mouth and then spits it out. And I'm not baptized, and I think it was like one of the first decisions that my parents took. Like, she's not going to be baptized because she's going to decide for herself, and that is so different. Like, even
Yeah.
if my friends are from other religions, everyone is baptized, and it's a thing. It's a huge thing,
Um,
and it's an event of sorts. And it's like, I remember when my friends were questioning, they would do the same thing. And going to Catholic school, I also attended communion classes and
Yeah.
confirmation classes, and they are torture. And if you can't find a person who is willing to do what this priest did, which is to take your questions and answer them and engage with them, then it just becomes impossible for you to kind of understand the ritual, because it's a lot about ritual in
Yeah.
in in the sense. Yeah.
I also I get the confirmation. I was confirmed. I don't know, and the way they tells all us little girls to do this stuff was for the dress and the pretty things and the flowers, and it's like, you will do this and it's annoying, but you will get to wear this pretty dress and we'll throw you a big party afterwards and you will eat whatever you want. um like I remember most of the party about it. I don't remember the religious part. And one time I asked my mom because she waited a long time to baptize me. Like I was like 7 years old, and she asked me if I wanted. I was like, yeah, why not? Like I didn't thought about it. And she was like, I just want you to do all the things that you're supposed to do to be a well accomplished woman in our society. Like she actually said that to me. And she was like, because of that, I want you to learn English. Because of that, I want you to go to the university. Because these are the stuff that you need to know to be successful, to be powerful woman, and no one will ever criticize you, like uh or judge you, because like she was trying so hard to make me the more normal as she could, because she didn't want me to have it hard. And
Yeah.
as white passing Latino, like I can see the privilege, because sometimes if I don't want to, be uncomfortable in certain situations, I just shut my mouth, and no one can see my accent, can hear me, and can really uh, know where I am from. Most of the time, people think I am Jewish. Like, I don't know where, but because I don't don't know people from that culture, I didn't mean to appropriate it. But people is like, oh, I thought, oh, you're Venezuelan. And the more racist comment I get was from an Italian guy that was like, how are you white? Why are you so white if you are Venezuelan? That doesn't make
colonialism.
Yeah.
like, that doesn't make sense. And I was with my friend from Curacao, and he's like, as the saying, I am Dutch and I am black. Like, your people come to our country and colonize us. Like, leave us alone. The cat wants to come.
Uh, and it
Okay.
says, I still can't believe people made Lo believe, or sorry,
That's my best friend.
Oh, hi.
Hey,
So uncomfortable. She preferred to say she's American.
which is a lot. I will have to admit, for me to say that I'm American, it takes something. So y'all know.
I'm surprised you didn't say it without gagging.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like one time I was in the bus and a guy get really, but a really big guy get really interested in me, but he realized I am not from Panama. Um, I love Panama, but they hate Venezuelan here because a bunch of us come escaping for our country. Cat, be quiet. Uh, um, he was like, "And where are you from?" I was like, "Okay, I'm going to use my white privilege. I am from Uruguay." I don't know. I just think,
I don't
uh,
know. Like, I've seen a lot of discourse the other day on Twitter that people are like, Argentinians aren't Latinos because they are white. And I'm like, congratulations. You just proved to everybody that you have no grasp on geography whatsoever.
Yeah.
oh my god,
I remember you were talking about. I think you tweeted about that or something.
Yeah.
Like what?
no! Like, my my friend is from Uruguay. That is I am talking about.
Exactly.
Like, and
It's just
like, and I'm like, I am from Uruguay because I kinda can pass like from the south because they think in people from the south that have this wild look, and they say, and he was like, oh, and how is Uruguay? I am like, big,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
nice.
we can talk about our white privilege because
That
it's
it's real.
Yeah.
like Xiomara's every time I could relate to the moments in the book where she was like literally harassed, but I
Yeah,
could never compare or understand like her actual situation because she's an Afro Latina and because she's
yeah,
like built this way. Like even we might be like how Lou was talking about, like yeah, because
yeah,
people see Brazilian women or even just Latina women that from Latin people from Latin America, they just like have this over sexualization. But it
Yeah.
probably definitely
well,
works for Afro Latina women. People,
the same Italian
It,
guy
it
that
really it
asked
really
me.
yeah, just a second, Paula.
No,
It really
it's okay.
intertwines with the thing of intersectionality also,
yeah,
because
Wow.
there is a matter of ethnicity, a matter of gender, but also a matter of race.
yep,
Yeah,
And this is a huge thing in Latin America, like how racism in Latin America, specifically racism
yeah,
in Brazil, is so
that's
different from the way that it works in the United States.
mm-hmm.
So at certain points, I had a feeling that her mother didn't really quite understand the type of racism that she was experiencing because it works so differently here.
Yeah,
It's so
exactly.
much less overt. It's so much like, so if she saw something, she saw microaggression and she told
yeah,
her mom like, hey, this microaggression occurred to me. I think like as a Latin American person, the immediate reaction is just like, well, if they didn't say a slur, then
yeah,
they're racist.
Downplay it.
It's always like
So it's very
those
like,
microaggressions are kind of like just excused in Latin
yeah,
American culture in a way. If
yeah,
it's not like, oh, did they touch you? Did they grab you? No? Okay, then why are you complaining?
yeah,
What's the
which is
problem?
the reason why, for instance, people say that horror line like Brazil is a racial democracy. It's not a racial democracy. We're very racist. It's just like we're racist in a different way,
in a
and I feel
different
like
way.
this is very similar throughout Latin America,
Yeah,
and it might be
Not in the book.
so it's just like there are two cultures and two very different perceptions of the same things, one for her mother and one for herself,
Yes,
and all the time, and that's why I think they needed this help communicating in
yes,
the end.
exactly. Like when she was talking about the cuero, about like
Yeah,
how her mom, like, oh, you can be a hoe if you're this, but you can also be a hoe if you're this or that. So it's like,
yeah,
this word means so much, but at the same time, it doesn't
Yeah.
represent anything
yeah,
because it's applied to anybody.
Well,
Um,
I was talking like the same Italian guy that was, why are you Latina and you are white? We work with a friend and she's from Brazil, and he was like making some really nasty comment. Like, this guy, we just want to die, and we were in a situation that we couldn't, punching in the face because he was insinuating that she was a sex worker.
Happened to me.
Oh my
Happened to
god!
me.
And,
Oh
and
my
we were like,
Not a good idea, and I was 15.
oh
So,
my god! Like, we
oh,
were
guess
like,
what
Very
happened? Rachel,
okay,
you didn't
wait a
this
minute.
happened in
We
Florida.
Oh my god!
No.
Nothing good happening in Florida, Rachel.
But where?
I
In
swear
Miami?
to God, I no, I because Brazilians like Latin America has quinceañeras.
Mhm.
Brazil, it's very common, or used to when we weren't broke, for girls to change the quinceañera party for a trip to Disney World.
Oh,
So
okay.
I did that, and I went to Disney World, and I was at a Walmart,
Nice.
and there was this guy, and I was wearing like shorts.
What's your
And
first mistake? Going to Walmart with shorts. Don't do
I
that.
was just, like walking, being Latina, and this guy was like really struggling at a Walmart, and this guy was really struggling to get toilet paper, so I picked it out for him, and he just went for my direction, and like kind of like, and I was like, "Sir, can I help you?" And he was like, "I think I know a way that you can help me," and I was like, "Yep, nope, I'm going, no, nope."
No.
Oh my god! No.
Yeah, no. But it's just
Day one of being in Florida, so that was fun.
I'm so sorry. It just
Oh.
goes like that just
so
proves that point that like just Latin American people that look like women are
Yeah.
overly sexualized. All
Yeah.
the time. All the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Like
It's such a huge trope in media too.
But
It's
you
Yes.
just-
realize,
it's so normalized, and that's how it's
Yeah,
that's how you are taught Latin American culture.
yeah.
but you realize that happened a lot with young Latina girls. Like,
Worse.
uh,
Worse.
it's worse when they are younger. It's worse. Like,
Which is
like
it's
you say, you
so
were
much-
16.
I think like there comes a moment, this is going to be so rough, but there comes a moment where we stop being sex objects and we begin being mates, and that is what it is, you know.
Yeah. a lot of
So I think that is kind of like the point that Xiomara really struggles with, is like the way that she is an invitation more than,
it.
and again with the thing of intersectionality, this experience cannot really be understood just in terms of being a woman,
Exactly.
but it has to be understood in the terms of being a Latinx woman, being an Afro-Latina woman, and
Yeah.
it has to be understood within that, because without this context, I think it would be very confusing to, it will lose a lot of what it
you
is.
add like let's just African women, black girls at all times. They're always seen like more mature for their age.
Yeah.
You know? So throw on top of that being Latina, and it's just you have all of this mix of terrible stereotypes that just don't make any sense.
Yeah, the way that that plays out in the United States, at least, is that people who are young people who are Black, if they are a woman or if they are femme presenting, they are seen as sexual far before their white peers of the same age are, and how it presents for young Black boys or masculine presenting kids is that it they are seen as criminals as adults. They are charged as adults far before their white peers are, and that's a problem. How do you think that the I don't know how if you guys have brothers, but how do you think that was portrayed in this book, where Xiomara was completely treated differently than her brother? If you guys want to speak on that.
I don't have brothers.
I do have a sister.
I don't have
too.
brother, but my best friend that just came in, she's like she has four brothers, and I was all the time in her home. One time we were cooking because they don't know how to cook, basic life skills. We don't know them. Um, uh, we were about to go out, and her mom was like, "Okay, do the dishes and whatever, and you can go out." And I was like in a hurry, so I was like, "Go change. I will do the dishes for you." And I would start doing the dishes, and her brother has the audacity, like, Anna, if you are seeing this, show this to Alexander, please. Like the audacity of come with his plate, like he just eat. I was about to finish and put it, and I was like, dude, like you have two hands. It's like, well, blah blah blah. And also, like, they
Sorry,
were
Emilio.
they were all the time naked around us, and that is so
Oh no.
uncomfortable. Like, we couldn't, never be in church or
Yes,
everything
that's a good
because
point. I mean, I don't have brothers, but I have uncles and male cousins, and
yeah,
I remember now it's different that I'm older, but I do remember when I was younger, it was always this thing that's like, oh no, your uncles are here, you shouldn't be wearing like a short dress or
Yes.
shorts.
Yes.
no, no,
What are
Yeah.
you
To this day.
That is
Oh,
like,
okay.
like what are you?
And like your father is around, you should change your clothes. Too.
Exactly.
well,
That's
that
Your own
never
dad. So
that
Your
never happened to
father.
me, but
Yeah.
that, like, I know that is common,
of
but
just
I
there's
attempted
a
to
difference.
my
Like
mom.
here, guys aren't naked; they're shirtless all the time. But
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, here too, like
okay,
all the time.
they are
all
naked
the
because
time.
there's this huge like, and I think people think of Brazil and Latin cultures as a whole as this huge like socially liberated culture. It's very Catholic, so it's like there's a lot of emphasis on putting the right clothes when people are coming over. So
Yeah,
if I'm wearing my pajamas when a unknown man comes over, I have to change. And like taking your clothes to get changed in the bathroom right after you shower because
Yes,
you can't
yes,
be
you can't
walking
come out with
around
a
in your
towel on.
towel. So
Yeah.
there's a
Can't
lot of
see
that.
anything.
And
Yeah.
like when it comes to the division of domestic work, I don't have a brother, thankfully. I just have a sister. So it's just I live with my mom. It's just me, my mom, and my sister. But my dad is always present. It's like the opposite. I'm pretty lucked out in this part that me and my dad would have a really good relationship, and he has a really good relationship with my mom. But throughout our lives, it was always been me, my mom, and my sister doing the household work, and not my dad. So it's like it's something that we do. And then when my dad went to live on his own, sometimes we have to do the work for him also because he doesn't do it. So we're so attuned to do this. It's what we call in labor law. It's like care work. So we're so used to being carers that we're always concerned about basic standards of living and worrying about those standards of living. So when Xiomara's mother says like you are la niña de la casa, it's not just you have to clean. It's not just you have to cook. It's just like I am raising you to be able to do this care work and to make sure that everybody around you it's able to live their own lives. So taking care of emotional needs, taking care of um, cleanliness and making sure that the entire situation is proper for people to live in. So this is something that you don't really tune off, no matter how feminist you are. And like if you go to a place and people leave the dishes in the sink and you're like, I'm not gonna do the dishes, and then you look at the sink looks like you and you're like, I'm gonna do these dishes. I cannot live in a situation like this. So it's very different and I know this happened when I still had a boyfriend and we traveled together. We went to one of my friend's house, and while we were having dinner, like I cooked, and then he put his plate on the sink. All of the men put the plate on the sink and went to play billiards. And then I just sat here like I just cooked, and now you want me to stand and clean this room for you? Like, do you know what? And he's like, oh, you know how to do it better. Why do you think I know how to do it better? I was raised to do it this way. So like you keep perpetrating those stereotypes, and then we broke up. So that was fun.
Yay!
Glad to
Girls,
But I think like,
Get
there
rid
is
of
an
it.
aspect of like we are taught to do this, and
yeah,
it's more than just asking for her to take care of the house and clean the bathtub and clean the dishes. It's like raising her to occupy this place that is so prevalent in Latin American culture.
yeah,
That is the woman being the sole caretaker of the family.
And like also just fitting into other stereotypes. Like there was a moment in the book where she was talking to her brother, her twin, and she was just like thinking like, you know, if he brought a girl home, he'd probably be encouraged and be like, yeah, like I'd be their mom would be so happy for him. It's completely different for her. Like, I mean, we saw what happened when,
Yeah.
you know,
It's violent.
and then let's not even get into like conversation about being gay in Latin
Yeah.
American culture, because it's
Like
just terrible.
I
don't even know
haven't even.
this was what Rachel was hinting at. What is this?
Sorry.
Oh my god. No.
I would never recover from that. I think I would discard for the rest of my life.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Hi, Nugs.
Hey.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Hi.
you were saying. If this is what you were trying to hint at, Rachel.
I
Oh,
want to say
sorry.
something.
Go
Sorry,
for
I am
it.
just laughing.
No, go ahead.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about the brother. I think that wasn't really explored that much in the book. I realized that the it was centered in Xiomara, but I don't know. I was really interested because being part of the Devil's Alphabet when you are part of the Latinx community, like I have come out like with my to my boyfriend, to all my friends, to the internet, but I'm not. I haven't come forward to my mind to my mom like say like, you know, I know I am in a committed relationship with a man right now, but if everything happened, maybe I could come with a girl to home. That's something that could happen, mom. She's like,
Oh, hello.
oh,
Hi.
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 We have a guest.
It's
This is
so
my smallest one, and this is my other one.
Oh my god. Oh.
Adorable.
We're your mom internet friends.
Hi.
Just ignore them.
Aw.
Oh, no. How can we ignore them? Like,
You can't ignore them.
say hi. I like mute.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, but it's yeah. I forgot what I was. I got distracted by the cuteness and I forgot what I was.
Yeah.
Adorable.
I think that the exploration of sexuality within the Latinx community and coming out to Catholic, extremely Catholic parents, it's something that, especially if you're queer, that you
Oh.
fear. My family is not religious. It's the contrary. They tried so many religions that they are like, we're just a spiritual. It's weird. But my city, it's so religious, and you know that I know when I came out that my family would accept me and all that entails. But what about my teachers? What about my peers? What would they say? And when you grow up in highly Catholic cities, the amount of just homophobia is so normalized and it's so ridiculous, and I feel like it could have been explored more
Yeah.
with a brother. It could have
Yeah.
but it would have taken, I feel like,
A whole
so
nother book.
much more protagonisms.
I was
Yeah.
gonna
We
say, that
need
would
a
be really good,
spin-off.
like, it would be a good spin-off.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not like, I think that this is going to be a setup for a spin-off, and then the spin-off never came, and I was like, I'm still no.
Yeah.
But I
But
can
We're gonna wait.
come with
We're
the
gonna
spin-off
wait.
tomorrow. Like, I will be fine. I can wait.
I don't know how much you could speak to like the experience of coming out as gay when you're a 15-year-old boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is also that.
She did.
Oh.
Where did
I really wish her and Aiden Thomas would write a book together.
Oh,
I wish.
that would be it.
It's amazing.
Explored it a little bit in Clap When You Land. Like one of the characters, I think, was either a lesbian or bi, but it was
Yeah,
very,
girlfriend.
It wasn't like an exploration of identity or anything. It was just like,
Yeah.
Their relationship was so cute. I was obsessed with them. How she was like, I love my girlfriend. She keeps plants on her terrace. And I was like, yes, she does. We love it.
adorable. I loved her.
Oh,
It's very, but it's also like a level of denial because it's like her brother is just such a perfect son for her parents, and
yeah.
they're like, even if her mom wants to know something, she's
No.
like just in a sheer denial of it, and the
Exactly.
denial is so Latin American, or maybe
Yes.
it's just like
I guess
all
I
over
guess
the
we did,
world,
like,
but
talk about it.
Like-
yeah, making it
yeah,
like
I posted a picture of myself wrapped in an LGBTQ plus flag, and my mom commented, "What a great ally!" And I was like,
sure.
"It's the memo."
Guys, like look at my tattoo. Like
Yeah.
like I have I can do it. I have a tattoo like also a flag. I do it with my uncle that he's out and proud. Like that was a great energy to have around. At the time I thought I was being an ally, but then it's like, oh, I notice all the time how beautiful I are women. Um and my friend, like, she was also bi, but we didn't know. Like, it's like, no, but I think all women do that. Like, we notice how beautiful are other women, and we want to kiss them sometimes, you know.
And it's
And sometimes we
normal.
want to date them.
That's
And
all
sometimes
And sometimes you hear Taylor Swift or Haley Kiyoko, and you play the, you know, that you are the protagonist of the video.
yeah.
But I do think it's like it's very frowned upon to kind of like discuss this in a way. And I think like I particularly was very fortunate because my university was, by the time that I got there, we kind of kickstarted this LGBTQ plus and women's studies movement. Like if you think Latin America is way behind on the discussions, and we're way behind on, speaking academically, even we're
Yeah.
way behind on everything. So, like, what people in the 1990s might have experienced, then it's what we're experiencing and we're reading now. And I was a part of this for a long time, and even to this day, my mom, my dad being aware, and my sister being aware, my mom still thinks that I'm joking when I said that I would date a girl. And like it's been like 7 years now, and like there's one friend of mine that she says that I can date a single one, but she's like, this is a joke, right? You're joking, right? And I was like, no, it's really a denial. So I think this exploration of Xiomara, and I think it's kind of beautiful because it would be something that would give her brother strength too, kind of like
Yeah.
seeing how she dealt with it and being like, I did something differently with my life, and my mom ended up accepting it. So I think like
Yeah.
in a way, and we as Latin, and I think immigrant children even more so, but I feel like the dynamics in Latin America are much more like the children will bring about the change, and the children will bring about something, and there's a huge fight, and then after that time the parents will kind of like start picking it up and start accepting it because
Yeah.
there is a lot of love involved also. And
One question. Do you happen to have someone in your family? Because this is really common in Venezuela. Like everyone knows this person is gay, but this person doesn't come out, but they live with their best friend to all their life. Or even the person has come out one time and your grandmother is like, no, go to the closet. We are never going to speak this again. You can leave whatever,
your
but
very special friend.
Yeah.
your very special
It's
friend.
actually a thing that happened with the son of the Brazilian president, the son of Jair Bolsonaro. He
also had a
lives with the cousin, and everybody's like, he's not a cousin.
Didn't they do that in the Achilles and Troy movie? Achilles and Patroclus?
Exactly.
They're
But
all,
it's like,
I remember
cousin,
cousins.
but it's not his cousin because his dad is extremely homophobic because,
Yeah. Yeah.
he couldn't be like
Bolsonaro.
son too without being extremely homophobic. So
Bolsonaro is kind of the devil.
Mhm. Yeah, there is something that you also mentioned that academically we're so behind, and that it is so it's just frustrating. One of the first schools that I taught in, I went and I talked to the headmaster, the director.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I talked to him because it was a kind of dangerous area, and I knew the points of view and the beliefs that that zone had within the students, and all this prejudices, yeah, that kept growing in the community. And I tried to explain to him that I wanted to do a workshop with the students and with the parents, and he said, no, it is too complicated, you're not going to do it. And even if you try to kind of be the change and try to inspire the change in young children and young people, even in their parents, you're always going to be like stopped because of the prejudices, because of religion, because of all this. And it's a really frustrating situation to see how much other countries have kind of gone through this path already and have learned, and we are still here. We're still kind of two steps behind, and
Yeah.
it yeah, it is very frustrating too.
Yeah.
And what was your workshop? What was the theme that you want to touch that he was so against? Like just
I, I didn't. Sorry. Yeah, it was.
violence?
No, it was about LGBT, the LGBT communities, the differences, between sexualities and genders, and all of the feminist discussion about genders that it's now really loud in the internet, but
Yeah.
not in schools. Not in schools. There is such a basic sex education, and sexualities and genders are not included. And children understand this, and children learn about this from their communities that are also not ignorant about the topic, but they prefer to ignore it. They prefer to treat it as a taboo because you don't talk about your gay cousin. And that's
Yeah.
such prevalent thing. And he was homophobic. I he just didn't let me. And he once I went with a rainbow scarf to school, was one of the last classes, and he stopped me at the front of at the gates. And he told me I couldn't go in there until I took it off. And I had to take it off. And it was uh, it was a moment. It was something that you expect sometimes, but other times it just comes out of nowhere, and then you have to go into a class and teach the kids, and you have to ignore how they keep perpetuating this hate talk and the ignorance about the topic that keeps feeding all of this. And
Yeah.
great.
Uh, I'm really sorry that that happened to you. Like,
Yeah.
it's like when someone really says some nasty thing. Because I used to work in a university, and you taught, and it was a really well, nothing good come from Florida. It was a university from Florida that is here in Panama. They have a campus. I wouldn't say the name. My job
I want
there
to
was.
know. I want to know.
I will.
Call them out.
Doesn't
No,
matter.
no, no. The university staff was great, but some of the students, and I was like, "Baby, shut up!" And I was like, and he keeps coming. Sorry for the cat. Um,
Okay.
some of the student, and it's like you're some of the wealthiest people in this country, because this university is not cheap, and we don't get the scholarships of anything. And they were like the most dumbest people like I have ever encountered in that topics. And we have this amazing professor that he started an LGBTQ and plus I don't know what to say, like a group, uh, and he was out and loud, and he was really sweet and amazing. And he started making, these workshops so people can be more understanding because we have people of all countries and international school. um uh it was like one day a guy was like, like you can be gay because that God doesn't forgive me, and it's like it's in your brain, so you just have to toss it out and make yourself straight. And we were like, the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
I do think that there is this aspect of Latin America. There's a lot of just there are things that we do not talk about, and there are things that we do not discuss. Either
yeah,
because those are very difficult things to discuss, and it involves revolving a lot of trauma. And I think that there is a lot of this in the book, in the sense that a lot of things could have been said between. Xiomara talks a lot about her mother's own trauma too,
yeah,
and like how she heard from hearsay and bits and pieces because her mother never directly discussed it with her. And there is a lot of it in Latin America too. And Latin America it's just Latin America is a bunch of countries held together by trauma. And it's just like, but it's true, like
yeah,
the
it's true.
our sheer existence as Latin, and I think this is something so difficult to kind of wrap my head around, is like um the fact that we're so miscegenated as people, the fact that all of this stemmed out of an incredible violence, especially an incredible violence towards women. And it's a collective trauma that we never discuss. And it's a collective trauma that also leads us for us to be like, to have the rape talk before we have the sex talk. And it's a collective trauma to know, like,
Yeah.
we are here because we know that this is what has happened to us, but we're never going to discuss it. It's not going to happen and stuff. And then, I cannot talk about Latin America and not talk about 100 Years of Solitude, because it's the book that talks about Latin America. And then this forgetfulness just kind of makes us, it feels like, and this is something that I felt throughout the entire The Poet X. Yeah, my copy is way over there, but yes. And it's like, I feel this is something that exists all over Latin America. And it's something that I felt in the book. It's like, there is this thing inside of Xiomara, and she wants to let it out, and she doesn't have the right words for it. And so it's a story of her trying to put this into words and trying to get this into a way that she can convey. But us collectively as Latin Americans, we still have to figure out a way to kind of put this out in a way. So maybe this is why I think, we should write more and read more Latinx books, because I
uh,
feel like this is a great way to put out this sort of um, trauma.
I want to recommend a book. I don't know the name in English. If someone know, please comment. I will Google it right now. You have read Eduardo Galeano's book?
One, the Open Veins of Latin America.
That one. Like, if you happen to be in the Latinx community and you want to read more about the racism that is here, because it's really different from the one in the state.
Yeah.
I think I even think we are more racist to indigenous people than to for American people.
Yeah, I
uh,
think this is different in Brazil,
yeah.
because Brazil received 45% of all slaves that were kidnapped from
Oh,
Africa. And
yeah,
just for a comparison, the United States received 5%.
yeah.
And the region where Xiomara is from, the Dominican Republic and stuff, received the remaining 45%. So there is a lot of
Correct.
influence. And I feel like I relate to her in this sense, because there's a huge influence of Black Latin American culture in the Dominican Republic because of this. But I feel like in the Andes and the regions of the Andes and other countries in South America, definitely there is a component that is much stronger against Native people.
Yeah, in Venezuela and the part where I am from, that is Maracaibo. Like they told you these stories that are totally not true about the indigenous people. And one time I just wake up in the middle of of the night and realize, like, this happened literally. Like, I realized everything that I was told when I was a child, like, it wasn't true. Like all these ghost stories about the indigenous people that's when it's going to come and kill us and rape us is like it's being told us so they can make us fear them, they can make us racist, and it's fucked up because like we are all mixed because my mom is more in
Which is
like you
why
know
we shouldn't read Woven in Moonlight.
we
Yes.
we shouldn't read what.
Woven in Moonlight.
Don't
Just
talk to me
throwing
about
that
that.
one out there.
What is that good? I don't know. I don't know.
Jada is like
Spill the
absolutely
tea.
fucking not.
If you look it up, you'll probably recognize the cover
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
What
every
is the
way.
name? I'm just going to look it
The
up.
cover is beautiful. I'm so mad.
Woven. Oh, I can't type.
Yeah.
Woven.
Yeah.
in
I
Moonlight.
went for the cover and then I pissed myself because of the anti-indigenous
Yeah.
message. So
I was reading this book like I don't remember the name even. I got the audible and I was getting really bored. It was from an American Argentinian author. Um, it was this a ghost story about indigenous people. Was like this, I don't know, this seems weird, and I just get to the Goodreads reviews, and a bunch of people were like, she just is talking about these people like she didn't even change the name that much, and they are the bad guys, have uh I don't know a name, like a spell on the white people that they stole their land, and I was like, oh no, no, DNF, bye.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
But I do think like it's the 10th girl.
hey, that one, yeah,
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 but
DNF,
I good to know
next
Enough.
up,
because
next,
like
thank
I've had
you.
enough of decolonial rage for a lifetime. So um
A C instead of an A. Oh, yeah. And I was like, weird that and Google of the stuff talking to friends that are in Argentina, like, something about this or what's happening, and oh no, DNF. Bye.
yeah, and I do
Um,
think like it's interesting that we're talking about this because it really shows the diversity of experiences within Latin America as a
yeah.
continent. And then like how when those people who come from extremely diverse backgrounds go to the United States, they're all just lumped into a single Latinx, and as if that somehow communicates itself, and it's like Cuban people have the same culture as Venezuelan people, that's Brazilian people and stuff, and it's not that how things
So
happen at all. So
No.
it's like it's very different for me as I mean um, especially because people don't really understand that there are many languages spoken in Latin America. Am I just saying this because people talk to me in Spanish all the time and I don't understand
Oh
a thing? Yes, I
no.
am. No, I understand. I just can't speak it. But it's just like it's weird to kind of see an entire continent being lumped into a single identity in another country that doesn't necessarily correlate.
No, and if you speak of Latin America and the Caribbean is another like we share some traits. We sometimes speak the same because people from the Caribbean tends to speak four language. They speak English, Spanish, French, Dutch, and Papiamento. That is their language. We have so many traits in common because we are really nearby, like Curacao and Venezuela are really close. um and it's like sometimes the experience is so different and people is like, oh, you're from Latin America and the Caribbean, sombreros, and we are like,
Yeah. It's it's
uh
completely different. I mean, I'm here listening to a lot of what you guys were talking about concerning like Catholicism and stuff. And in Cuba itself, there's like so many religions.
Santeria.
Santeria.
yes.
Santeria is actually very similar to my religion. that is an African Brazilian religion called
That's what I was
Umbanda.
gonna say. Like the Caribbean is so highly influenced by African cultures, and that like they've modified it, like Santeria, into their own culture.
Yeah.
That again, what you're saying, you can't just say like I'm Latina, and then people expect you to be this idea of what a Latina woman is or a person is, because it's just so much. It encompasses so much. In my university, I think there's a separate degree or just like a whole other program that's just dedicated to Caribbean studies, as opposed to just like Latin American studies, because
Yeah.
it's different and so much more diverse. You can't just like lump it together like that.
And the story is all different, and the way they see race is different. The way the slavery process when there was so different, even in the islands, in the because my friend that is Curacao, he say that in Curacao they are really suspicious of people from Jamaica,
Yeah.
like um in Aruba, they like Curacao, but they don't like this other island. And the language it can overlap, but the papiamento is different in every island, and even not all are papiamento. Some others have their or I think there is patois, and I don't know all the names of them, but yeah. Um, but something that I want to talk about, like my family, as most of Latinx families are mixed. So my mom is more, in the brown side, and all my life I told my grandfather was African American, but then when I met a real African American, he was like, "No, Paula, no. Yeah, I've been treated like this way in Venezuela, but when I am because he's a pastor of the um, Methodistic Church, the good." The good side, because he's divided in the ones that are homophobic and the ones that aren't. He's in the ones that are not homophobic, and he said, every time I go into the state, is like the Afro community doesn't want me, the white people doesn't want me. It's like I am in and we're in between. And he told me, and even Paula, like we are a mix with indigenous and people from Arabic descendant, because he speak and write in I don't speak that language, unfortunately, in Arabic. He's like, and so our culture is different. And I'm like, and you never told me, and we never talk about this. And coming as a low say, like, and this is something from Latin America and our trauma. We don't talk about this stuff. We don't talk about our background. We don't talk about, because we want to pretend that racism didn't exist in our land, that we are like different from the states in that way. And we are misogynistic, homophobic, but we want to make everything a joke and put it under the rope. Everything's go
Yeah,
under the rope. We never talk
I don't
about it.
really think it's about a moral high ground. I think it's kind of like a survival technique.
You think so?
Um,
Hmm.
I think like Latin Americans go through so much, and it's difficult for us to kind of like address everything because it's difficult for us to really process this trauma. And it's like we have to grapple with this history of colonization that turned us into what we are. So I think like it's not that we don't talk about it because it's just like if we need to forget and we need to not pay attention if we are to live, because
Yes.
like I was just mentioning, like this past 5 days ago it was the second year anniversary of one of the largest environmental crimes in the history of Brazil, which is a mining dam like 40 kilometers away from my house broke, and it killed 270 people in 30
Wow.
seconds. and it was like a complete disaster. It poisoned an entire river, and then we all got like had to get our yellow fever shots taken because there was a rise in yellow fever. So it's just like that, and we kind of had to forget that this was a thing, because how do you live with this, you know? And you're still being a productive member of society. Like, it's a lot of trauma piled on top of just a single population. So like we just kind of live, and I think this is kind of like the idea of what Xiomara's mother really brings about, is like, we don't want to bring grief to ourselves, and discussing those things is kind of like bringing about grief, but it has to get worse before it gets better too.
Yeah.
So it's like
Kind
it's
of like
difficult.
like
Yeah.
in the book it got pretty
Yeah.
bad, and then it
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
yeah, because it's also just, you don't want all of these traumatic experiences or just like all of this history and past to just become you in a way,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
All right. Well, we've been on for a little over an hour and a half. So
Oh my God.
I know. I'm going to wrap it up here because I got to deal with my kids.
Don't worry.
Thank you all so much for being here. Any final thought you want to share? Yeah, thank you so much, all of you, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, actually, I'd love to have all of you back on if you all want to talk about queer books and the Latinx community, like being Latinx. That would be really, I think, a great conversation if you guys, if you all, want to come back on to talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. Okay, I will chat with you about it in the group chat.
Yeah.
Okay, can you wait like half a moment? If you all want to share a final thought, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was great. I loved it. And every time that I'm available to talk about the colonial rage and Latinx issues, I will take up the opportunity, because I am this person. But thank you so much. It was lovely talking to all of you.
Yeah, I had a great time. Let's do this again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. This was my first time being on a live on YouTube, and it was great. You're all amazing people. Like, I love everything that you talked about, and definitely sign me up for anything else in the future. And I hope all of you guys read the rest of Elizabeth Acevedo's books if you haven't.
Yes.
We can talk about it because they're all amazing, and they all have, like, you know, all of these incredible themes that she just talks about. It's beautiful.
Well, Rachel, thank you so much to invite me, and thank you all of you. Like, I am having a blast. Like, I will do anything like to talk with people and make more friends that want to read books, because that's something that I need in my life. And it was amazing. And if you have your channels or something right in the description, because if I don't follow, I will go to follow you. And yeah, it was amazing. I really like this book. Like, we should read more poetry by mixed people, like, because it's going to bring more, subjects in all the topics that are about, or I don't know. Okay, remember words. Um, you know that all the great poets has always talked about love and all those things, but now I think there's some different way of love, there's some different way of life, and I need the and I know that this book wasn't like a poetry book, but I kind of feel it was like, it was like a collection of poems with some narrations, and I was really curious about how will she make a all lyrical book, but she do it spectacular. And the audiobook, like, I can't stress enough, read the book, but listen to the audiobook, or if you are ready to read it, please get the audiobook. Like, it's amazing. And well, thank you so much.
Thank you all again for
Thank
being
you,
here.
guys.
Thank
See
you.
you next
Bye.